So, this is not the episode we planned. We recorded a conversation, an honest, vulnerable, necessary one, about mental health in the legal field. It was with a colleague I deeply respect. We talked about the pressure, the silence, and coping mechanisms, the burnout, the moments of grace, and then the audio failed. Completely gone. Luckily, our great producer, Omar Rubio, was able to find a backup audio that still recorded and salvaged the conversation. Now, we could have scraped the episode, we could have waited, re recorded, pretended it never happened. But that felt dishonest, because in a way, the failure itself mirrors the very thing we were trying to talk about. How often things break beneath the surface, and how rarely we feel safe enough to say so. So today, I'm going solo. This is a monologue, not what I intended, but maybe what was needed, because mental health in the legal profession isn't just a topic, it's a reality. It's personal, and it's time we stop treating it like a footnote. Let me start with this. Being a lawyer is hard, not just intellectually, not just professionally, but emotionally. We are trained to be adversarial, analytical, and always composed. We are rewarded for being unflinching, for pushing through, for never showing weakness. But beneath the surface, many of us are struggling. We deal with trauma, our clients, our own. We navigate systems that are often unjust while trying to maintain some semblance of integrity. We work long hours, under immense pressure, with little room for error. And we do it in silence because vulnerability in our field is often mistaken for incompetence. I've seen brilliant attorneys burn out. I've seen colleagues suffer quietly through depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and isolation. I've seen people leave the profession, not because they weren't good at it, but because it was slowly destroying them. And I've felt it too. There are days when the weight of it all feels unbearable, when the inbox is overflowing, the deadlines are relentless, and the stakes are too high. When you're advocating for someone's freedom, or safety, or dignity, and you know that one misstep could cost them everything, that kind of pressure doesn't just live in your head, it lives in your body, it lives in your sleep, it lives in your relationships. And yet, we rarely talk about it. We talk about strategy, we talk about precedent, we talk about wins and losses, but we don't talk about the panic attacks before court, or the tears in the car after a brutal deposition or trial, or the emotional numbness that sets in after years of overload. We don't talk about mental health enough, but we need to, because mental health isn't a weakness, it's part of being human. And if we want to build a profession that's sustainable, that's ethical, that's compassionate, we have to start by acknowledging the toll it takes. We need spaces where lawyers can be real, where we can say, I'm not okay, without fear of judgment, where we can support each other, not just as colleagues, but as people. So maybe this episode didn't go as planned. Maybe the audio failed, but the message didn't. The conversation continues. And if you're listening to this, I hope you know you're not alone. Today, our guest is Marco Aguiar, Fresno County Public Defender and great friend. Enjoy the show. You don't have a camera on you and that cute kid you have with you right there?
That seems intentional.
Oh, man, that would have totally worked.
How's that good?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Omar, can you come in camera? Can you come in frame right now? Come on, man. Again, you have an adorable child.
The MRE bag.
We'll just...
It's the go bag. You see that?
MRE and Glocks.
Sound engineer, media expert,
What can't this guy do?
Renaissance Media Collective, Sanger, California.
Take it
Take it easy, man.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you.
So don't worry about how we go through.
I'm not concerned.
You're not? Why not?
I am who I am. Great start.
Oh, no.
Yeah, shorten it. A little bit in there.
todo lo que son, no importa de qué raza, no importa qué persona es,
Hey,
a los humanos, todos los hijos de Dios, a todos y a John Tolley.
my name is Marco Aguiar. I'm an attorney at the Fresno County Public Defender's Office. Exactly how I feel. When I was a nobody intern for a criminal attorney in North Fresno, I'd go to court with this attorney. I'd sit there. No one would talk to me because I wasn't a barred attorney. No one gave a shit what I thought. No one gave a shit about why I was there, except for a handful of people. And one of them was John Tolley. At this time, he was on the vertical prosecution team at the DA's office. And those guys are kind of like their bigwigs, right? They're their special prosecutors. They assign them to special cases. It's only one of the few that came up to me in court was like, "How's it going, man? What are you up to? What year in law school are you? What do you want to do after this?" And I think that's some insight into who he is as a person, because he's going up to the most unimportant person in court, the person that has the least experience, who probably feels like they don't belong there, and making them feel like they do. And I think that shows a lot about his character.
So the John Tolley I know is probably the same one, but for a different reason.
Tell me.
He was recruiting people to go to law school, and he was part of this law school night. Hey, come over and we'll talk to you about how the first year was. And he was going down to his second year, and he said, "Hey, I did well my test. I did pretty good. This and that." And I was just like, man, I want to do that. But he was like, you got to put in the work. It's hard and all this kind of stuff. And I just thought to myself, jackass, like, why are you telling me like it's hard?
Right.
Like, say it's hard, but you can figure through it. Just like it's hard.
Right.
And I'm like, but I was like, okay, I remembered that guy.
Right.
And I was likely going to go to that school, but it was local. It was San Joaquin.
Right.
And I just thought, you know what? I really want to go. Because this seems like if that's who they put as the vibe of the school, like they decided this is the person we want, right? This is the person we want speaking for the school. And he's basically like, hey, look, what everyone said is right. Everything is cool. Law school is what it is, but it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, look, most of us are doing this as a second lifestyle, a career at night. It's mostly night. It's hard.
Right.
So if you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Right.
Okay? And I'm like, okay.
That's the best kind of person to put in front of those panels, although maybe not from the perspective
Well, he went
of law
rogue,
school.
I think he went rogue.
Yeah, right. From the perspective of the law school, maybe not. Because I don't want people to think it's too hard. But that's probably the most realist person in the room. He's telling you, yeah, all this stuff they're saying is cool, but it's also bullshit. This is difficult. Anything that's good in life is difficult, and you're going to have to suffer a little bit to get to where you want to be. That's the kind of shit most people need to hear, and that's the shit I want to hear. I don't want people to lie to me. So it sounds like we're talking about the same person, which is great.
So then I meet him.
How many years later?
First year of law school.
Okay.
And I remember seeing him on the panel, and I remember thinking, that's the guy that made it, because I'm trying to figure out what's the path to make it. Like, hey, who solved the puzzle? I don't care who solved it. They solved it. I want to solve it.
Right.
I want to get past my first year of law school. I was a business major. Like you, man, like we're Mexicanos, like first generations. Like I wasn't like, oh, law school. Let me tell you about how my uncle told you. I was like, okay, that guy said he can do it.
What do I do?
Basically there was a hike. That guy figured out how he can get through the hike, and I kind of like his mentality on it.
Right.
I'll follow him. His direction of travel is to lead. And you can define it as bullying if you accept it that way.
Okay.
And I was, look at my face, look at my head, look at the shape of this. Bullying and me are not like we're not strangers. Okay, being bullied, like easy target, right?
Low hanging fruit.
Oh, low hanging fruit. Right. That's why before, I used to tell some of the bullies, like, you pick on someone with like use your skill to come up with a new bullying tactic. I would respect that more. Instead, you're like low hanging fruit today.
Right.
What happened, Gerald?
Real original, bro.
Is it just real original? But it's Thursday. You just added some material. But his wasn't like that. His was like, I passed the first year of law school, right? And I was like top 5 in my class. And I thought to myself, like, I may be on the cusp of passing or not. I don't really believe I should be here.
Right.
And I started hanging out with more people, because all of a sudden more people started hanging out with you, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, you passed, you have the good grades in certain classes, right?
You're going to lead us to
the promised land, because I'm on the cusp of falling out for the second year, right?
Right.
And he looked at me, and I was like, here we go.
Oh, no.
This is like, you're going to meet your hero, right? And he goes,
that's why they say don't meet your heroes.
He goes, hey, Martin, oh, you think you're all bad or what? I was like, damn.
Oh man,
This guy's
messed
rough,
up.
man. I was like, all right. And then
Yeah,
and
show
I
me a
felt
little love, bro.
I felt
Come
like he
on.
had like a little crew. He had like this little crew. Like I love him. I don't want to name him because I know them all today, right? But he had this little crew. Whether they were his crew or not, like who knows? Like Tully may have just been like, "This is us right here."
Yeah, right.
Like this is us right here. You know, like, people are like, "What? They're smoking a cigarette?" Yeah. No, I like Tully.
Yeah. He's cool. He's a good guy.
And he becomes a DA, and I see him later on when I go become a public defender in Tulare County.
Right.
So I'm
really? I didn't know that.
Right. I had heard about Tully when he had got his job from my boss at the time because he was he had a defense case against him, and he goes, "Hey, I know this John Tully, and he's doing really well, and he has a plan of how he wants to get certain stuff done." And he was like telling me like, I'm like, "Oh my God, John Tully again!" Like,
so I can't get rid of this guy.
No, I can't get rid of this guy, right? So then I go and work as a public defender for a couple years.
Right.
Now I'm 3 years in. He's like 4 or 5 now in at the DA's office.
Moving up probably pretty quickly.
Right. Oh, yeah. And then I see him in the hallway. And I'm like, oh, John. But I'm not thinking like, this or that. I walk by and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, you're in Fresno now?
Dang!
Oh, you think you're all bad?" I'm like, oh.
Wow. Not even like a hello, it's good to see you. It's like, oh, you think you're bad now?
But he came up like real just like this, right? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I started telling him why, right? And he goes, he's holding his file. Like, back then we had actual files, actual piece of paper, right? Mm-hmm. And he's holding his file and he's just like, all right. So I'm like, wait, what do we say? So then all of a sudden it was like, wait, you say something stupid.
Right.
Because that was stupid what you said, and I was stupid what I said, but now let's just keep saying stupid shit.
Right.
So we started saying stupid shit to each other.
I love it.
I thought to myself, well, you know what? Who cares? He's at the DA's office. I'm a defense attorney.
Right.
Right? I'm like, he's got more to lose than I've got to lose if this gets out of control as to how we treat each other, right? Yep. Okay.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'd be coming in on a Wednesday like, what am I doing here? Cases.
Absolutely. He's held to a higher standard at their office.
Oh, man. But I'm trudging in with my files, and I walk in and I'm like, I see Tully. And he looks right at me and he's looking at me like, oh shit, it's like tackle bait, like right before you get to the lake. You know that tackle store that you can get your last like Twinkies and chips and your soda or a beer or something, and your worms and stuff just to get to that lake.
Right.
That's how he sees me. He looks at me and he goes, oh. And he walks, and I'm looking at him like, man, I know you're already going to come at me with something. I already know it, right? So I'm ready for him. And we would go at it with like swords and shields and this, nobody knocking nobody down.
Right.
And if you did, it'd be like, hey, bro, get up, man. Get up.
Just carrying each other.
Hey, man, we just get up. You look stupid if you're on the ground. And I mean, now it looks like I abused you, man. Just like, get up, right? Always going at it. And I thought to myself, this guy is going to get in trouble because he's going to continue to, push the envelope, right?
Right.
Yeah, he would do it tactfully, but what I realized is what he would do it is around the right personnel.
People. Right. You have to be really high character to kind of take stuff like that on the chin and just realize, hey, we're all just trying to get home at the end of the day. He was a good person.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years of my career, I didn't see him as much unless I had like welfare fraud cases, but the experience I had with him while he was prosecuting a really serious case in his specialty assignment, he was always super chill. He was, I think, high character, always open to kind of poking fun at stuff. Like he always kept things light, even though it was a super serious case.
Super light.
Super light.
Super light. He would basically say this. This is the case as I see it in this square. This is where I think you see it. There's some outer areas where maybe we can discuss it. All right, let's discuss it. And if you're like, hey, this or that, hey, man, the square is right here.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
If you want to get crazy with me, we can talk about how your team sucks in sports, or we could talk about how you don't know how to be a man and go camping or whatever. And I'm like, okay.
You couldn't survive in the wilderness.
Right. So I'm like,
right. No, and he was just a really chill guy. And it was sort of a unique experience for me because during almost all of these interactions, I wasn't a barred attorney yet. And yet he was still pretty cool with me and still talking to me, even when I was working under the case.
He loved to see somebody who was new and fresh because he's like, I'm going to give you.
I'm going to be your first impression.
Yes. I'm going to be your first impression to this courthouse, to this legal industry.
Right.
Which was a great impression because it was like being greeted at the greeter at Disneyland. They're like, welcome to the most magical place on earth. And you're just like, whoa. But it wasn't like that everywhere else. Right.
No, 100%.
No.
100%.
But with him, it was like, look, man, you want to spar? We can spar about whatever. But I'm still going to have a good time.
Right. One of the most vivid memories I have of him is, again, same time period. I'm a nobody. He had just broke his arm, so he's in a sling, right? And so we're walking back to Del Webb, and he's like,
he's injured.
He's injured.
He's hurt. He's wounded.
He's hurt.
His score is low. You're like,
exactly.
Here's my chance.
Right.
Here's
and
my
he's
chance.
like, let me give you a little bit of life advice. I was like, this shit's gonna be good, right? And he's like, I was expecting it to be like some legal advice, how you approach a client, how you approach a DA, something to help me in my practice later on, assuming I pass the bar. And he's like, no. His advice was, if you're ever in an elevator that breaks and it's heading down, this is what you do. You jump up real quick right before you hit the bottom. And I'm like, I was not expecting this little bit of advice. It is kind of funny seeing him, Del Webb, jump up with his arm in a sling. Like, it was so out of pocket for me. I was not expecting this. I was like, oh man, this guy's he's a big wig. He's about to give me some solid advice. And I was like, whoa.
That was solid advice.
It was solid advice. It just wasn't the advice I thought I was going to get.
That's why it was solid.
That's why it was good.
Because if you knew how that spoonful of sugar was coming at you,
right.
He just came at you with something else.
He was like, what the fuck wrong with this guy? I was like, oh, maybe I could use this one day. Never know. I've never been in a runaway elevator, but I might. And his advice might save me one day because I'll know what to do.
Or always remember him when you're in an elevator.
100%.
There you go.
Right. Reflection sometimes is the best way to remember somebody.
Let me take you away from this just a little bit.
Sure.
Not that this is unworthy of highlighting, of course. I'm going to bring it back. We're coming back to that.
Let's do it.
I know who you are, but the 7 people that keep subscribing.
6, because I'm one of the 7.
So you can talk to yourself again.
Right.
There's some cameras here.
I think it's important for people to know how we met, which is funny because I knew your brother first.
That is true.
And for a period of time, your brother thought I was the biggest asshole in the world.
You kind of were?
Yeah, and so...
well, according to him.
According to him. Okay.
According to him.
Salt of the earth kind of guy. I love this guy. He's fantastic. I haven't seen him in a while, but about 12, 13, 14 years ago, when I was living here in Sanger, I lived here for a decade. I love it here. Want to move back one day. The Sanger Youth Soccer was, a large organization here, caters to these kids. My sisters were playing the league, and the league was like poorly run. So, I step up. I was like, all right, I'll be the president of the league, kind of get things going. And I meet this guy. Okay, it looks exactly like you. Actually, you guys are freaking twins, and he's the coolest cat around. So I'm running this league, doing my thing, and then I find out some guys like yelling at the refs, and the refs are like 10, 11, 12. We kind of just pay them bare minimum, have them ref a game. And these like grown adults are screaming at him. So I kick him out of the league. And your brother, who's like an advocate for his people, he jumps up. He's like,
wasn't even part of the problem.
He wasn't even part of
the problem.
He wasn't even part of the problem.
Okay, right.
And so he calls me. He's like, why'd you kick this guy? I was like,
He took the phone call?
Yeah.
Why'd you take the phone call?
Probably because it was him. I knew
so you're like, what do you want, Chris?
Right. I knew Chris was calling. Something serious happened. And so he's like, why are you doing this? And he's very lawyer-like. He's not a lawyer, but he's very much like you. We're like kind of going back and forth for like an hour by why I made the decision that I made. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll give the guy the hearing. And then we did. The little Sanger Youth Soccer Board did, and I still kicked him out.
Wait, you give him the opportunity to be heard.
Right.
He states his position.
I
don't know you at this point.
You don't know me at this point. It's just Chris, the parent from one of his teams.
Did you say, sir, you're not a lawyer? What do you...
No, I never asked him that. I probably should have, but he argued pretty well. He was a good advocate.
All right.
And he was bringing up
He said, I'm here speaking for this man.
Right.
Okay.
So he's standing up, he's advocating for this guy. I assumed it was like his homeboy, or I assumed it was like a parent on his actual team. It was somebody tangentially related to the club. And so I was like, man, all right, we'll have a little hearing. I had the guy show up, kick him out, told him you can watch from the outside of the field. And your brother thought I was an asshole for doing that. I don't blame him.
But did he actually call you that, or was
No,
just it
I
was
just got
you
that
got that vibe?
I got
okay,
that vibe.
so he doesn't like me.
Yeah, I was like, this guy
Okay.
doesn't like me anymore.
Right.
Which was sad because I thought he was a great person and he did great stuff for the community. You know, he was coaching his kids at the time. He was a great coach.
Advocate for random fights,
random guys,
issues.
You know, he
Okay.
shows up and starts advocating for these people. I can't hate a guy for doing that. You know? And then one day I'm in court and I hear this guy say something in court. And I'm like at the front of the courtroom. So this guy's in the back. I'm like, what the f-? Tell me Chris is a lawyer. And I turn around and it's you. I immediately recognize, like, this guy's gotta be related to Chris. And he looks like Chris.
Okay, so he had kind of told me the story from a different angle, obviously.
Right. Tell us his angle.
You were an injustice, no due process dictator.
That's probably accurate.
You know what I was thinking at that exact moment?
You're probably thinking this guy's a little.
No. I already knew who you were long before you ever found out. Because my brother...
Oh, man. And we had been, like, chatting for,
right,
like, years.
No, it was at least a year.
It was at least a year.
You were in the department, and I was chatting for, like, at least a year. I would go in, and I would talk to you.
Department 33.
And I'm like, there's my brother's enemy.
Right. Which is one of the funniest happenstances to ever occur in my life.
Right.
You know, I laugh about it.
Right, but I watched it in real time.
Right.
I watched your epiphany in real time.
Because you knew.
You connected all the dots, and I was join me in this little adventure we call life. We can discuss this. I'm going to have to edit this part out. I'm going to have to edit a lot, man.
Give the people what they want. But you'd ask people.
There is no people what they want. Look, can I tell you the truth then? It's not going to hurt your feelings.
Don't lie to me.
I only tell you this because I feel like you're like that little cousin, because you're from Jalisco, not from Jalisco. Let me just say that part before I insult you. Let me build you up before I break you down.
Yeah, build me up.
Let me build you.
Tear me down.
I'm going to tear you down, but let me build you up. When I first saw you and I met you, I'm like, there's no way that guy speaks Spanish. And pray tell, you do.
Right.
And not only do you, because obviously where you come from, and I know now that I see all of your features, I say, oh, of course, because you're from my tierra. You're from Las Tierras de Jalisco, which you look like one of my cousins. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Bro.
But in the valley here in California, you don't look like that.
No.
You look like something else. I heard you speak Spanish one day and I said, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
I had to figure you out completely differently. Because you went from my brother's arch nemesis to, oh shit, he may be like a cousin of ours, man. Like, bro, like we're fighting our own people at this point, you know? Like, what are we doing?
Is it unusual for what we do? No. When I heard him speak Spanish the first time, I was like, oh, now I know who this guy is. You figure them out pretty quickly when they look like people like us and then they speak Spanish. You're like, I knew exactly which region they're from because that's where the colonizers went. After they absolutely raped Mexico. After they burned down their boats, which was a big move, and decided that we're going to stay here.
Oh, you're just going all in.
And colonize this.
Oh, man.
We're going to stay here. And where did they go? They went to Jalisco.
But that's our ancestors too. That's our blood too, though.
That's our history.
That's our blood too.
You know, we can't be mad.
Look into it. Los Altos de Jalisco. Look at all of Tequila, Jalisco. It's a beautiful region.
Right.
But we are a beautiful history of people.
Right. And
okay, aside from soccer commissioner, you're also an attorney at the Fresno County Public Defender's Office.
I am.
As you represent them so well with that T-shirt.
I have very little clothes in my wardrobe. This is one of the
okay, it was clean. It was a clean shirt.
It's the only one that was
I get
clean.
it. It's the basketball shirt. You go and play Saturday morning.
It's my casual shirt.
You go to court.
Right.
In the morning.
Correct. Every day. Well, not so much every day now, but yes.
But every day you wake up to a battle.
Absolutely.
Every day you wake up to misery.
As do you.
I do too. But I know me. I want to know you. I know you. You start off on a happy point. I know you. I know. I've seen it. I've seen it.
That's how I am.
I know. This is why. Because I've walked in and I've looked. And, you know, it's 10:32 and maybe people are not feeling as high as they were at 8:37.
Mm-hmm.
Your spirits are still up because you're like a blimp. You're like a Goodyear blimp. The helium's still in there.
Just floating. Because you have to in what we do. You know what I mean?
Here's my actual question, because I feel like I wanted to like slow play you with this question, but then I don't because you're smarter than that. So I want to give you at least as much respect.
Don't give me that much credit.
No, I know part of it is you're. I'm gonna out you at this point.
Do it.
Part of your shtick is acting as if you don't really know as much as you really do. Because getting help is how a conversation starts, and your true skills are speaking to somebody.
Okay.
10:32, you're still happy. You're still going. There's still helium.
Right.
I can walk in and say, "Hey, where's everybody at? They took a break. Where you been? We've been waiting for you."
Right.
True. I've been somewhere. What's going on here? And you seem to have the ticker. You know, you seem to have that stock trader, the trader coming in saying, "Hey, this is what's still happening. This is what's still going."
Right.
Now, I think many people can assume that means that you started high and you kept going on a graph.
A little lower, you're good.
If you're on a graph and you start to slightly go down, I think the assumption is that you will continue to go down. And by 5 p.m., you're still at like 73%, which is still good, right? I don't believe that. I believe that when you start that high, you keep going, and you could get to a point where at 3 p.m. it drops off very quickly.
Absolutely.
I do that.
I do that too.
That's a scary thing.
It is. When in preparation for today.
There's no cameras here, dude. There's no cameras.
It's just audio? Okay, thank God.
There's not even audio. Look, Omar left.
We're just talking to each other in a room. Nothing recorded.
Nothing's happening.
I'll be honest with you. When I reviewed your sort of, because that's just kind of how I am. Like I try to prep for things. I want to make sure we have an intelligent conversation, and I'm not.
You reviewed me? There's nothing to review.
No. Review the questions, right, that you were going to propose. And because I don't want to come on here and give 30-second remarks for your question, because you deserve more than that. Reviewing your questions, one of the first things that stood out to me was, what kind of answer would I have given 10, 12, 13,
I know.
13
That's
years
what
ago?
You started with. I have a lot of respect for you, bud. I really do. So I don't want to slow play you on it.
No. I think it's important because I think it's therapeutic for me too. You asked me these same questions about mental health in our profession 12, 13, 14 years ago when I'm in a very different place in my life. I give a very different answer based on my limited experience. So you asked me these questions which now seem intuitive, but then I think I would have responded with like a more machismo answer. I would have said mental health isn't really much of an issue. If you're a weak-minded person, you know what you do? You pray about it, and you wake up in the morning and you go to work.
Move on, bud. It's time to go.
Si tienes ganas, échalos.
Échale ganas. Hey. Échale ganas. Si andamos en lo que andamos,
pues tú sabes.
Pon la pala a la tierra y vámonos. No estés quejándote, cabrón.
We don't have time to worry about that.
We don't have time for that.
So, that's early in my life. I have limited experience. The experience I have had is not great. I'm a snot-nosed undergraduate student trying to finally live my life. I think at that point in my life, I think therapy, mental health, those kind of issues, those are for weak-minded people. And it's probably not a popular opinion now, and that's probably something people would crucify me for now. But I do realize that that's really isn't accurate. I think it really is a product of our culture, which is our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents. It really seemed like they didn't have time to think about this stuff, and they really communicated that to us. You know what we did when we felt blue in the morning? Got up, we still went to work. We didn't have time to think about that. We had to put food on the table. That was our priority. So mental health ended up taking a back seat in our culture. And I think by virtue of that kind of primed us a little bit to think that that's the place it should hold in our life, really, which is on the back burner. And it absolutely should not be. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to say I'm the most mental health aware person now, but by virtue of what we do, I think we become more aware.
We're aware. We have no answers. We have answers.
We have some answers, and we have some ways to deal with it. But if I were to sit here today and tell you I possess the tools and ability to deal with mental health issues of my client and me, I'd be lying to you, because there's portions of my life that I still haven't dealt with.
Are you allowed to say that publicly?
Are
you allowed to say that publicly?
Probably. I mean, it's not a political
Hey, man, I don't care.
We're here,
Hey, think about it. No, you're right. Do you have the answer for every human?
No. No, we don't.
No.
Because people
Do you know which answers you have for which humans?
No.
I don't think I have that answer either.
No. And the time you start saying that you do,
you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
Absolutely.
You're wrong. All you can do is continue to help. Which one's helped? I don't know.
Right. And
I don't know, but look,
help means
hold on, I got more people to talk to. I don't.
Exactly. And help means something different to different people. Okay. Sometimes people need more help in strengthening their family dynamics. Sometimes people need help with different coping mechanisms. Sometimes people need an intervention of medicine plus therapy. It's not one size fit all. And I think that's what put me on the back foot going into this line of work, which is mental health wasn't something that was addressed very much growing up. It's something that we suffered through.
Are we going to get into our cultura conversation?
Hey, we might. It's a difficult conversation.
Wait a minute. That one. I'm a guy though. We're not allowed.
It's a difficult conversation.
We're not allowed to talk about this.
We're not allowed to.
No.
And we're not allowed to acknowledge that it is an issue.
Mexicano, we're not allowed. It's Fight Club.
Right.
It's Fight Club. We're not allowed to talk about it.
In our culture, mental health isn't an issue.
First off, let me say something.
I got you.
I know what you mean. Our culture. I love our culture, and I don't want any of that to change. But when you live in a place where maybe people don't know, and I'm going to say this. In the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, Mexico was not doing well. And that's nobody's business but Mexico. Sure. Right. But that's still a fact.
Right.
So when I see my ancestors, and by ancestors I mean my mom and dad and my grandma and grandpa, I see where they had to live.
Right.
But I saw hard-working people who have achieved way more and have accomplished way more than I'll ever accomplish with what they had to go where they've been. Props. Right. Abuelitas, props.
Right.
But
they dealt with a different stressor.
Now we're in a situation where some of us are entering the legal field.
Mm-hmm.
Entering different fields that were not part of the fields that a lot of people were part of.
Right.
We gotta talk about our feelings.
Hey, we can talk about them. And you know, it's not a bad thing, but I've come to learn it's not a bad thing to talk about them anymore.
It's not?
It was a little taboo growing up, right? That's why you asked me all the way up until like I'm 28, 29,
you know, you
30.
can move these mics. You could just relax because I feel like on this one, I feel like, oh, what are you going to tell me? I feel like this is, this one's going to hurt. This one's like...
It's something that we're allowed to talk about. We're primed to think that we're not supposed to.
We're supposed to talk about our feelings?
That's part of our struggle.
Well, here are my feelings. It hurts. It's hard.
Right.
It's hard trying to help people all the time and being told you're not doing enough.
Right.
Because you're always going to question if you have a conscience.
Right.
Maybe I'm not.
We're in a field where oftentimes most people in the courtroom hate us and are annoyed by us because we're advocating on behalf of our client. And there's no shame in that. That's why we're here. That's why we're advocates. We're able to stand up in a courtroom full of people that disagree with us and say, hey, give this guy mercy. But there's a struggle in the beginning of our practice because we sometimes have a difficulty connecting with clients. At least I did at the very beginning because they would tell me their issues and I'm like, come on, bro. Like, oh, you have mental health issues? Why is it on me right now? This is weird.
Okay, can we just make this the introduction? Look, I'll put this down.
Bro, are you telling me this is when the show starts?
There is no starting point. Let me tell you something. There's no starting point. It's just life and what we are. Look.
Right. You know, the first couple of years you get into this profession and you're thinking, I'm going to do it for all the right reasons. I'm going to do it because I want to advocate for people. I want to be the contrarian in the courtroom. I want to be the one standing up for the small guy, right? And then you get into it and your first year you're like, holy shit, this is a lot of cases. Holy shit, this is a lot of trauma. And what you end up doing is, if you really care about your job, you end up being a pseudo-therapist, right? You internalize someone else's trauma and drama, and you try to do everything you can to help that person. Well, when you leave 2135 Fresno Street, the trauma, the information you receive doesn't stay in that building. It follows you home. You're at home, you're eating dinner, you're thinking about, man, what am I going to do with this case? What am I going to do with this guy? What am I going to do with this other particular client? And I will tell you, it's very, very difficult to separate yourself from your work. And to some degree, if you're good at it, you never actually separate yourself from it. And so, what I used to tell myself early on in my career was, career, if that's what you want to call it, is
It's a career, brother.
it's
a lifestyle that we've chosen.
right, and it's a lifestyle we chose, and I think it's a job that shouldn't be taken lightly. Because we meet people at their lowest point in their lives. They've been incarcerated, they've been charged with serious crimes, and we have to help them sort of navigate those issues. Early on in my career, and even till this day, I'm not going to bullshit you and tell you I have the work-life balance down pat. I don't. I'd be lying to you if I said I did. Right now, it's extremely difficult.
I don't.
Right, and you know what? You have significantly more experience than I do.
Stop calling me old.
Right? No, it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with experience. You've been in the game longer than I have. You've handled more serious cases than I have, and I know you've internalized that trauma and probably taken it home. Okay, and I feel like this is probably
what are you doing to me right now?
Right. I'm turning the tables on you, dog.
Oh,
I
man.
I know this has to be. I know this has to be
cross-examine a public defender. They're going to put it back on you.
This has to be therapeutic for you, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right?
This is. I don't care about
Because
the cameras or the microphone.
100%.
This is me putting my thoughts out so I can just put them somewhere. There's a different plan for me. The plan for me is to be me.
Tell me. I'm turning into the host now. Tell me.
I haven't,
bro. You haven't even.
I haven't even started with you.
Dog.
Why did they find you naked in the streets on Blackstone? Coming up next on the next Donahue Martin.
I will assert privilege on that question.
That's going to be the edit right there.
Right,
that's going to be. You understand that that's going to be the trailer to the actual episode. This part gets edited out.
Okay.
I keep saying that. I'm using up the time. This part gets edited out. Because I'm being real with you.
Whether it gets edited out or not, I'm going to tell you how I feel.
Okay. Perfect. It's scary in this industry.
It is.
I joined it knowing nobody.
Right.
I get to see it from a farm worker perspective.
Right.
And I can come in and say, hey, you know what? What's going on around here? Like, I'm kind of interested. Like, what's happening around here? Like, this is interesting. It was.
Wow, this is so
when
different.
I was in law school, I had to drive somebody to jury duty. I've never been on a jury. But
wait.
Yeah.
You drove somebody. Yo, you got to tell us about that.
So when I went to law school, I drove them there.
This is now the Marco.
No, they made it on the jury. Yeah, the Marco Aguiar pod. He's taking over here. It's the Matrix.
I'm taking it. I'm asking you the hard questions.
Okay. And I couldn't be a part of it. But they were like, hey, why are you coming? I said, well, I'm driving one of the jurors here. And I was in law school at the time.
Who were you driving? Tell me.
A girlfriend at the time.
Not your current one, right?
No.
A prior life. Okay. So you're driving an ex-girlfriend.
Hey, wait. Get back to where you were at, like, for the edit. So, like, where were you? Where were your hands? Like,
edit.
Where were you? Like, where was your starting point?
Right here.
It's like right, and then it's
Boom.
like, wait, ready?
Set.
No, I'm gonna leave all this in. You understand?
Ready.
No, wait. You understand that all of this is.
I got you.
Okay, no,
all right. An hour and a half long.
Okay. Ready?
Set. Go.
No, it was a different girlfriend.
Bro, you're crazy. You're crazy, dog. All right.
Anyways, they said,
Ready? 2, 1. All right, let's go. Boom.
They said.
So you're driving someone to jury duty. Tell me what happens. I'm asking the tough questions now.
They said, why do you keep coming here? I said, because I'm driving someone to jury duty. So then the DA came over and he talked to me and he said, hey, what are you doing here? I said, I'm driving someone to jury duty. And he said,
right.
Oh, okay. Why? And I said, well, because I'm their ride, you know?
Right.
And he was just like, yeah, but that sucks for you, right? And I was like, sucks for me? Like, I'm in my first year of law school. I'm watching an actual trial right now.
Right.
Like, this is the stuff we read about in theory. Imagine learning about Hercules and Zeus, and
In
they're like,
real
oh
time.
yeah, Hercules and Zeus.
In
yeah, they
real
hang
time.
out in the real Colosseum over here.
Right.
In
Hey,
real time, you're like,
Department 72. Go check them out.
how much does it cost? How much does it cost to get in?
Right.
It's free.
Right.
It's
Wait.
open to the public.
So you're dropping her off, and you're going to go watch it. Is that what I'm hearing?
God, I can see why they gave you the extension on the contract.
So you're checking out this trial. Irrelevant. Just tell us
Irrelevant.
about your experience.
It was interesting to watch what happened between everything that was happening.
Was this your first time watching a trial? I guess is the
In
question.
person.
In person?
In
Okay.
person.
So you heard about it in theory, now you got to see it pen to paper.
Yes.
Okay. Well, how did you feel while you were watching it?
It was very emotional.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us about the type of case.
It was a DUI.
Neta?
Right.
You got that emotionally invested on a DUI?
Because it was
Tell
someone
me why.
else's story.
Okay.
And it was someone else's life.
Okay.
And decisions.
Okay.
And perspectives from different people.
Right.
And a whole group of people that had to make a decision, and people that were disagreeing about what happened. And
right.
There was just a lot happening. And I was like, wow. And I was so impressed. How old are you now?
I am 33. I'm going to be 34 this year.
Like a baby.
I'm probably more
Like
than
a
halfway
baby.
through my lifespan.
Like a baby.
You know what? I don't know. The life expectancy in my family is pretty low. Unfortunately, my mother passed away at 45. My dad had a very serious tumor at 50, almost died. I don't think I'm going to make it past 50, 51. So you know what? The best value I can give to humanity and the community is going to be between now and by the time I'm 50. I think every day
You don't
after
think that
50,
you're going to live past 50?
I don't think so. And I think it's because, it's the whole nature versus nurture debate, right? I think I give a lot of value to nurture. Those that you're around, those that shape your frame of mind, those who shape your experience. But I also think that we're not giving our due deference to nature, which is our inherent genetic predisposition to have disease, cancer, so be it, whatever it may be in your particular family. Longevity in my family is not a thing. Unfortunately, my mother passed away pretty early. She was born in 71. Passed away in 2015 from cancer. That's unfortunate. She was a lovely woman. She had her issues just like anybody else. And then my dad at 50 had brain tumor issues. He's still dealing with that today. Do I think I'm going to live any day past 50? Probably not. But any day past 50, I think is going to be a gift, and I'm going to probably appreciate it more than most people who are in their 50s. Okay? Because I know at any moment, my biological predisposition could take me out at any moment. Do I have any control over it? No, not unless I'm getting an MRI every day and getting ahead of the issues like my parents dealt with. It's just something I got to deal with. You know what I mean? So do I have this desire to have kids and have a family and be rooted in a community before the time I die? Probably. But do I think I'm going to last past that time period? Probably not. I think in reality, we have to come to the realization that our time is finite. And while we're here, we have to give to the community and to the people that we service as much as possible.
This sucks.
It sucks, but you know what? It sucks to a degree, okay? But also it alleviates my concern in some degree, because I know that when do I think I'm going to perish and leave this earth in soul and body? Probably somewhere in my 50s, okay? So that leads me to believe that I need to provide to my community and my people the most between now and then. That only gives me 14, 15 years, okay? I'm willing to do that, okay? And I'm hoping I have kids in the interim to kind of bestow those values upon, but it's a very difficult question, especially in our culture, because we are not tasked with trying to determine when we think mental health or physical issues are going to affect us. We think we're just going to keep working until we die. But we assume that that's in our 70s, our 80s, our 90s. We never talk about whether or not those issues are affecting us now and are going to lead to us dying at an early age. So, for instance, my mother passed away. I think she was at 45, 46. Crazy young age. She was a wonderful person, you know. Did it affect me? Absolutely. Was she the perfect person? Probably not. You know, that's just how experience affects our person. Is that an expectation I have from my life? Probably. If I die at 45, well, I hope I do everything I can between 33 and 45. You know what I mean? It's something that we don't talk about in our culture. We just assume si tienes cara, échalos. You know, you're going to keep working until you die. Is that a lot? I'm not.
I'm going to ask you a question now.
Give me a question.
You think that you have a short time span in this life?
I would be lucky and blessed. I would count my lucky stars if I live into my 60s.
Okay, so let's get you back to your 70s. This is how we're going to do it.
Okay, tell me.
You have to have a purpose.
Right.
You have to have a purpose.
You have to.
No, you don't. You do. You do. If you don't have a purpose, your body doesn't even have a purpose. Okay.
Okay. If you ask any of my partners in the past 10, 15 years, because virtue of our culture, put work first. Okay. And that's a dangerous proposition.
Yeah, I do too.
Because we sacrifice our personal relationship with other people at the expense of being good or effective at what we do.
Right.
That's a dangerous proposition for people just like us. Okay. And I know you deal with that. Okay. You're a father, you're a partner, you're an attorney. You deal with it just as much as I do. And it's hard when you leave the office to leave that shit there.
You can't leave your clients behind.
No, you can't.
No matter where you go.
No matter what.
But at some point, in order for you to be effective for your clients, you do have to leave them behind at some point to relax your brain.
That's tough.
You have 17 years, according to you. If you have 17 years.
I don't have much time left.
You have at least 17 more times.
I ought to figure it out.
You can plan in where you don't think about that.
Right. And if you ask me how many times I'm at dinner, if you ask me if I didn't think about any of my clients or any of my cases during that dinner we had, I'd be lying to you if I told you no.
Which part is it? Is it your mind or is it your ego that makes you do that?
A little bit of both. Because you want to be the best person.
For your ego?
Prepared. You want to be the best prepared person in court, right? That's part of our machismo. We want to be the most effective person in court. How do you do that? By being the most prepared. And how do you be the most prepared?
You may not have time for that.
You may not have time for it, but I think oftentimes...
And you may not have time in your own life for that.
Right. But you know what? People like us, and I know you do this because you're a lot like me, we sacrifice our tranquility at home for being effective in the courtroom. Okay? We go home and we think about our cases. We go home and we think about our cases, bro. We go home and we think about strategies, way in which we can convey to a judge or a jury that our client is less culpable than we think they are, or they're more relatable. I try to
put myself in every client's position, and that puts me in a
tough.
Oh man,
that's tough.
That puts me in a position where I'm now going through their life, being them.
We become pseudotherapists, and we're not trained to deal with that. So you know what that means? That means they trauma dump on us, and we take that.
Explain what you just said right there. The clients trauma dump on us.
Trauma dump. So for those of you who aren't attorneys, you know one of the first, and this goes back to one of the questions you asked me, which is emotion important in our line of work? Absolutely. Because we need to emotionally connect with our client in order for them to what? Trust us with the questions we're asking and trust us with the advice they're giving.
To speak for another human?
To speak for another human.
They have to trust you.
Absolutely. And of course, if you ask me if I have every single client has agreed with me, no, that's not the case. But have I made an effort to emotionally connect with the client? Absolutely. Because that's the only way that one, they trust you, and two, they'll tell you their trauma, in which you can try to convert that into...
you got to help the trauma of other individuals.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Even if it's separate and apart from our own, that's in addition to the trauma we have as first generations of Mexicans.
Man, that's too much.
Practicing.
That's too many cobijas.
And,
that's it. That's too many.
But I think us as individuals who have dealt with adversity, who have elders that have dealt with adversity, we're more equipped to tell people bad information, because not only can we sympathize, we can empathize with those people. Okay. And I think that's why I love doing what I'm doing, because I can tell people, listen, I know your life sucks. I know you've had to deal with these issues. I've had to deal with these issues. But you know what? There's a way out of this. We have to give bad news to people. And if we're not people persons and we can't connect with people, it's harder for them to receive the information that they're receiving.
Why not just go and hang out somewhere if you only have 17 years?
Because I love what I do. You know, if I die in 2035 and on my tombstone it says, you know, loving husband, loving father, loving lawyer, I'm okay with that. You know,
what if it says nothing?
If it says nothing, then, you know, whatever everybody else has to say. As long as
right.
I've lived my life and in the way in which I wanted to live it, that should be good enough. We try to make positive of those situations, but those are the types of people that we ought to be concerned with just as much as those on the opposite end of the spectrum. Almost more so, because we are almost
clearly masking our problems with laughter.
We are masking the problems with laughter.
And that's okay, because we bring laughter, but...
You know I'm going to keep watching out for you, though. You know I got you.